Okay, good evening, beloved readers. I'm going to use that word. You are welcome to our first book chat, the Read Book NG community. I want to say a special welcome to everybody here present. As you know, we are talking about the book Principles, and we'll be reading this book for the past 23 days. It's been a wonderful experience.
I
I
think
think,
the woman from Nigeria is around.
yeah, I think that no, that is Bemi. Bemi, you're welcome. So it's been great 23 days of reading the book Principles by Dalio. I am your anchor and your host, Idemudia Christian. So what I will do is that I will just allow each and every one of us to introduce ourselves, and then we'll take it up from there. So we start from the next after me, which is Mercy. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Messi, and I live in China for now. Hopefully, to depart soon. That's all for now.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Dominic.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dominic Ebere Okonkwo. I'm currently a student here in China. What else? Yeah, just a student and trying to do things for myself and for my community. That's all. No.
That's great. Nice to have you. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, Bemi, over to you. Bemi,
I
can
don't
you
think
hear
it's
us?
record. I don't think it's
Yeah. Let's go over to Somlaya. Somlaya.
okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good
I'm Samaila Osman. I'm also a student here in China. So for the meantime, I'm in China, and then happy to meet you. Happy to meet everyone on the reading group and here on the reading chat.
Thank you very much. Then lastly, we have Ibrahim.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Ibrahim, and I'm also a student here in China. I've been here for 3 years, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Ibrahim is a French speaking. He's from a French speaking country, but he speaks English very very well. You know, I wish I can speak French as he speaks English. So thank you very
I'm
much
trying.
for making it easy for us to flow together. So Gbemi, are you there?
Yeah.
Like Gbemi, can you hear us? Okay, Gbemi is still not on. Before we kick off, I just want it to be relaxed and, like it says, or like the title says, we are here for a book chat and we'll be reading the book for 23 days. You know, the book is Principles and written by Dalio. The book is divided into three parts. The first part is where I'm coming from. The second part is life principles, and the third part, which is the last, is the work principles. We've covered the where I'm coming from, which is the first part, and that is where our discussion will likely dwell upon today. By tomorrow, we are going to be concluding the life principles. And you want to agree with me that the book principles have been a very, very great experience as we've read through. So before we move on, I just wanted to say one or two things about your experience with the book principles. How do you feel about it? What is your what do you have to say about the book? And then we continue from there. So let me start with Dominic. Dominic, what is your impression about the book Principles?
On a general note, I can just say that it's a book. It's a kind of it's a book that guides us, on matters that on work matters and life matters. Because these two things they're essentially part of us as a human being. As humans, we work, we live. So I think when you have principles guiding your work, guiding your life, I mean, it's going to make it a lot easier. So for me, the principles is it's just like a manual for life and for work. So that's my impression. Just a set of rules, you know, guidelines on how to get the best out of life and out of your work. So that's the impression I have about the book.
That's great. It's a manual for life. Okay, Messi, over to you.
For me, this book is like a must read for everybody. You know, when I started reading this book, I got to a certain part in the book, and as at that point, I had like some decisions I was battling with, and the book was sort of like speaking to me. So it's like a guide, as you said, it's a manual, and it has really been simply awesome. And I think everybody should have an opportunity to read this book. That's what I can say.
That's very, very great. Everybody should and must have an opportunity to read the book. Samalaya,
Okay, thank you very much. Although I'm still battling with my application, I think what I can say, this book, it has actually helped me to widen my horizon, particularly if I always refer to the book we read earlier, which is Boundaries. So actually, the boundaries just taught me on how to create my principles, but this book principles taught me or show me how I can follow my principle throughout my lifetime. Because the whole book, it summarizes a lifetime of a successful individual. So, and if you can choose your principles despite forces and live by it, you will live a successful life. So I think for anybody that needs a successful life, you need to read this book, Principle.
as
That's
well,
what I can say about it.
anyone striving to live a successful life would need to read the book Principle. That's wonderful. Ibrahim, what do you have to say about the book Principles?
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately for me, I did not read the book yet because since you sent that file, I started going to the hospital every time. So
Yeah,
the only thing I got from the book is the thing you always send in our group, and I also try to like on YouTube the link you sent.
yeah,
Have you watched the guy and another video too? But what I can say, it's as they said, it's some books for life.
yeah.
How to live a good life, how to really improve your life, and how also to be like someone who can really be helpful for people. You see,
That is great.
so yeah,
That is great.
is that I learned first for the book, but I'm planning to read it after I get well.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. So
Yeah,
once you get strong and you are back on your feet, you
yeah.
engage with the book Principles. Okay, that is very wonderful. Now we are going to start off. Our discussion for today is carved. If you remember, one of the mission of our book club is not just to read books, just flip the pages of books and then we move on. We count the number of books we've read for the month or for the year, but we want to get value out of what we read. We want to get insights that can better our lives and improve our personalities. So today we are going to look at the power of interest, or what some people will call passion. If you read the first part of the book, Principles, which Redalo titled Where I'm Coming From, he talked about how his personality, he talked about how everything started, how he started with Bridgewater, how he came around, the decisions he made, and whatsoever. And if you read deeply, you will see that he always referred to his interests and his passions and how they connect to his success, to the successes he has made as a businessman and as an individual. So today, I want to look at the power of interest, or which we will call passion. So the first thing we'll look at, what we're going to do is that we're going to take some portions of the book and then we'll share our insights about them. Remember that when we read books, what we do is that we reflect over what we read, which means if I read a portion of a book, I'm going to reflect and I'm going to think about it, and then I'm going to have my mind speak to me. So we are not taking a stand. There's no right or wrong. We are going to share what we've reflected upon, and then people who watch or who have opportunity to come across our insight will also make reflections and think about what we have said and then make their decisions that they know are great for them. So the first thing Redalo started with, I love this part so much. He said, I was an ordinary kid in an ordinary house and a worse than ordinary student. I was an ordinary kid in an ordinary house and a worse than ordinary student. What is your take on that word? Messi, what is your take on that word? Remember,
For,
remember who Redalio is today, and then he's telling us this is where he started from. So, what's your take on that?
well, for me personally, from where we are coming from back at home, and we're so used to excuses. That's what I can figure out. We used to, oh, this is not working for us because we always attach it to something that has to do with maybe our family or the country or the economy. But this is somebody that's probably that back then as well. The economy was not so great. I mean, he said he was from an ordinary home, and for him to make something out of it is really something to look to crave inspiration from. That's what I can say. So from that sentence alone, I could relate and say, oh, maybe we've been going through this the wrong way. If we should just change our picture, see it from another way, I think we can definitely make something out of our lives. So that's what I can pick from that sentence.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Yeah, Gbemi, can you hear us now? Okay, Gbemi is still off. Yeah, Dominic, what is your take on
Yeah.
on that expression by Dalio?
Well, first and foremost, I want to mention that when you talk about books or when you read books written by great people, or when you see successful people talk about their stories, there is something I observe, in life generally. You don't get to hear the voices of the poor masses. Or, let me not even put it like the poor masses, like those people that have not been successful, that they are yet to attain success. You understand?
Yeah.
And so one thing is, first of all, you only get to tell your story, when you become successful, kind of. Okay. So based on that, if you examine somehow, coming from one angle, that particular phrase, that Redalio made, he said he's an ordinary kid coming from an ordinary home. So what he's trying to say is that he's just like every other person, like most other people, everything is ordinary. I believe maybe apart from few cases, maybe the likes of Beethoven, what's his name again, about Einstein and the rest of them. Okay, but most people are just very ordinary beings, having the brain and an independent mind to work with. So I think that's what he means by that statement, like coming from an ordinary room. But now look at him where he is now. He has attained, a very big success. If you look at the organization that he handles, and you see how he wants to pass on his legacy to people that will be handling the organization, even when he's not there. So if you look at where he started from and where he is now, what he's trying to say is that anyone can achieve success. Okay,
Yeah.
despite where you're coming from, despite who your parents are, despite the little opportunities you might have, you can still attain success. And then you can get to tell your stories, okay? When you've at least come to that stage of success, you can tell your stories to people and then let them, share from your wealth of experience, like that kind of thing. So that's what he means by that statement. For
That
me,
is
though.
great. Yeah, that is great. So
Yeah.
basically, he has just told us his foundation, where he started from. Sometimes
Yeah.
when it's possible to want to see him from where he is today, and we think that is where everything started. Maybe it was somebody who was lucky, was fortunate, but he's telling us, he's making us understand that this is who he was at the beginning. I think that's very important. He used another word.
Yeah.
He said, our DNA gives us innate strength and weaknesses, just like you mentioned, Dominic. We have the
Yeah.
weak part of us and the part that are very, very, the strength, our strength. We have our weaknesses and our strength. So, which part are you going to dwell on is not the question. Are you going to work with your strength? Are you going to work with your weaknesses and then leverage on it? Or are you going to sleep over them? I think that is the question. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next thing that he said just after this. He says he was trying to describe himself. He said, my most obvious weakness was my bad root memory. I couldn't, and I still can't remember facts that don't have reasons for being what they are, like phone numbers. And I don't like following instructions. At the same time, I was very curious and loved to figure things out for myself, though that was less obvious at that time. I didn't like school, not just because it required a lot of memorization, but because I was interested in most of the things my teachers thought were important. Because I wasn't interested in most of the things my teachers thought were important. I never understood what doing well in school would get me other than my mother's approval. So you see, he mentioned something. He said he struggled in school, and the reason why he struggled was not because he was not intelligent or whatsoever, but because he could not align his interest to what was happening in school. Yes, Malaya. Remember, we are talking about interest, the power of interest. And this is Redalo saying that when he was in school, he was not interested in what was happening and he was doing very bad. He was performing low because he was not interested. So, what will you define the word? That word interest to you, what does it mean? When we use the word interest or passion, what does it mean?
Okay, thank you very much. First, I want to tell you that I think I'm now well set to. I have downloaded the app and I'm using the system now. So,
Okay, that is great. We want you to up your volume a little bit. Yeah.
okay, to reduce it, can
No,
you
to
just,
increase it. To increase it.
okay, to increase it.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I think this the interest is connected with what he said earlier. That is, he's just an ordinary person. So if you look at it, when you most of all successful people, you see that they start from being ordinary. Most of them start from being ordinary.
Yeah.
Like he said in his book, if you read the Ben Carson book, also he said how he started. He was not good. He was not doing good in school, and so from here, there's one thing that is of interest here is you need something that will help you to discover yourself. When you discover yourself, like you mentioned, like knowing your weakness and your strength and all that. So by the time you discover yourself, you know what you are good at and you know what you are bad at. And also not only what you are good at, like most of the times what you are good at is something that will drive pleasure in doing with or without any other strings attached.
Yeah.
For example, when we talk about interest, I told you earlier, like if you have passion in doing things, that's why it's always you create passion in what you are doing, or you need to create your work in such a way that your income should come from where you have passion in, so that at the end of the day, you won't feel boring when your pay is not getting. Like if you go through the book, that there's a time that he even got down the frame got down that he was the only man standing.
Yeah.
And he was only there because he still has passion in what he's doing. He continues. Yeah. Because he has passion in what he's doing. If someone will say, no, this is not pain. So, but to him, it's not about it. It's about passion. It's about having interest in what he's doing. So what he did is he discovered himself. He understand what he can actually do, what he has interest in doing with or without any remuneration attached. So for him, with or without money, he will continue in what he's doing. Like he will continue in following his own interest. And by so doing, he created some skills for himself, where he can also get his source of livelihood from what he's doing. If you read to some extent, he said that even after his retirement, he will continue to do what he loved doing, although there might not be any pressure, unlike when he was in active service, there won't be any pressure, but he will continue because that is what he loves doing. So the most important thing here is that understand where your passion is, where your interest is. So try and make it more, let it as a monetary value, like a value that you generate from it, your livelihood. You see, all the time he used to say that all he thinks is just to cover his basic needs. And once that your passion will give you your basic needs, I think any other thing that will come is secondary. Because even if you leave it and go for something that pays better, you may spend that thing you get from them trying to get what you have pleasure in.
Yeah.
But when you have pleasure in what you are doing, no matter what little you are getting out of it, I think you won't have any problem with that. So, and the most important thing here is don't always look about what people will say about your passion, about something you have interest in. Because what I may have interest in, some people will look at it awkward. Like it's just something that no, you can't be doing this. That's why we are having problem maybe when we were young in choosing career and all that. Sometimes I don't want to like preempt our next discussion, but I think it's part
Yeah.
of the discussion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We are going to
so
get
but
we are going to get to that. We are going to get to that.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
So what you have
yeah,
said is that first we need to do a self-discovery.
yeah,
If we take good look at what Dalio said, he understood who he was. He understood his strengths and his weaknesses. And after that, he aligned his interests very, very well. He was in school, but at that particular time, he was wondering and asking himself, what is happening in school? Why should I be in school? At this particular time, he was not performing very well in school, but we were going to see the next stage, how he made his flying colors when he went to college. In college, he was so very, very good. He said he struggled to get into college with just a C grade, but we'll see what happened when he was in college and how everything turned out for him. Yeah, Ibrahim, is that something you want to say about interest?
No, I'm
Okay.
here to learn from you guys.
Okay, thank you. Remember, this is just a book chat. We are just trying to chat over what we've read. We are still struggling to have a Gbemi audio come up. Gbemi, anytime you can hear us and we try to make some sound, if we can hear you, we are going to respond also. Okay, now
Okay.
let's quickly move on to the next part. The next part we'll talk about is still related to what we talk about passion and interest. It says, okay, it says, let me quickly read. Sorry, excuse me. Let me quickly find the part I'm talking about. Okay. He said that fall, I started at a local college. I got in on probation because my C average in high school, because of my C average in high school. Remember what we were saying? In high school, he performed so low. He had just a C average. And the reason we can see is because he said he was not interested in what was happening in the classroom. He just wanted to put to make his mom happy. If you read, he said there was no other reason why he felt he should be in school than just to make his mom happy. And I think this happened in homes also. It happened in homes. There was a day there was a video that trended on Twitter where the father was I don't know the country, but we saw the father hitting the child. He said the child failed all subjects, that he only got an A in music. I don't know if you came across that video. He said he only got an A in music. And then people were like, oh, this child, you're supposed to understand that what this child wants is to go into music. Later on, I read that that video that occurrence had happened a long time ago, some years back. It's not recent. And that the child is doing well in music right now. That was what I read later on. So I think this is a very clear situation. As parents, as guardians, we need to understand how to help our children focus their interests. Grace says he was not doing well in high school. He struggled to graduate with a C average, not because he was not good enough, but because his interest was not aligned. He could not understand why he should be there in school. So we must be very, very observant of how we push our words, our children, and those who rely on us for decisions, how we push them to areas they may not naturally be interested in working in. Okay, so if we move on, he says, but unlike high school, I loved college. Why? Why? Why was this love for college? Where was the love for college coming on? This is what he said. He said, because I could learn about things that interested me, not because I had to. So I got great grades. So we see in high school the interest was not there. But in college, the interest was well, very, very well established. And then he was getting very great grades. He said, I also love living away from home and having independence. That's just joke on the side. He was happy this time because he was not having to go to school from home, and then he loved the independence. But what our focus is that once we find our interest and our passion, we see that the results we have is going to be different. It's going to be different. So what I'm just going to say, what I'm going to ask is that in the next line, he said, I majored in finance in college because of my love for the market and because that major had no foreign language requirements. So it allowed me to learn what I was interested in, both inside and outside class. Now, this is it. Dominic, you will take on this. Yeah, it says, this is Ray getting grades in college because he was into something he was interested in. Do you think a lot of schoolgoers today understand this fact and the effect it has on them? Do you think people, words, or young adults, children who go to school, in our secondary schools, in our high schools, definitely also in our universities, do you think they understand the effect of being interested in what they are doing and how it affects their results?
Well, for me, based on where I'm coming from, I'm a Nigerian. I can't say about every other part of the world, but
Yeah,
from where I'm coming from, I think teachers and parents they've not fully understood the power at play when it comes to educating a child. Okay, and we know of this man called Howard Gardner. He proposed an intelligence theory that what he's trying to say in that theory, that everyone is wired differently to do different things. But back then in school, from primary school to secondary school, from primary school to secondary school, before you gain admission to the university, what they base your intelligence based on probably mathematics, or maybe whether you're good at physics,
yeah,
chemistry, biology, all those science stuff. And you notice sometimes even in secondary school, if you're not in the science world, like if you're not a science student, maybe if you're in the arts or in the commercial department area, they tend to look at you as if you're not intelligent. You understand that kind of thing, or you're not, you don't think well enough, that kind of stuff. So now I think there's a problem. It shows the problem that we have when it comes to educating people, when it comes to educating children, because everything starts from when you're still a child. Okay, but when parents understand that children, I'm using children in this case,
yeah,
okay, but we can maybe make it broader by saying people, but I'm saying kids, because that's where it starts from. Okay,
yeah,
so they should look at their children or their words, like you say, and um, know what their natural inclination is, what they tend to do with ease. Okay, because in that you find the passion or the interest, like you say. Okay, so when parents and teachers pay attention to these things, they somehow they will find the link between what their children do and what they like. They'll find the link and then they'll say, okay, maybe my child likes playing drums. Why not put him in a music school or maybe train him? Put him in a school that trains people on how to drum or how to play a particular kind of instrument. But no, when a parent discovers that maybe the child likes to run around or drum or do some other crafty stuff, they tend to see the child as a less child or maybe someone that is not good at thinking, someone that cannot be intelligent. But we have different types of intelligence. That was what Howard Gardner was trying to prove. Okay, he said some people are naturally gifted when it comes to thinking analytically. Some people are good at music. Some people are good at so many different things. So your work as a guardian or as a teacher or a parent, anyhow, is to look at your child or look at the child in your care and know, okay, yeah, this is what this guy likes to do. Okay, maybe I should give him more time to this. Then when you give him or her more time to practice those things that he or she is good at, naturally you expect good results, and then the child will be happy, and then you and more productive. So I think for now, as it stands, I don't think schools, pay attention to this area. Okay, they don't pay attention to the interests that a child has. So, and because they don't pay attention to this, the child normally will end up doing something that he or she doesn't like, and in the end, won't be that he or she won't be that fulfilled or be happy doing the things he or she doesn't like to do, or the things that he or she is not naturally meant to do. So I don't think, to answer your question specifically, I don't think they pay attention to these things, because if they do, I think we won't be having many of the problems that we're having in the society today.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, thank
that's
you
it
very much.
for me.
From your contribution, from the insight you just shared, a lot of attention is not being given to synchronizing people's interests and to what they
Mm.
study or what they pursue. Messi, what do you think can be done in this regard? What do you think can be done in this regard? Oh, sorry, we can't hear you clearly. You're on mute. Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah,
Okay. For me personally, coming to China, we've been exposed to these. We see kids go to these extracurriculum activities school where they are engaged in maybe sometimes drawing, music, different sort of activities.
yeah,
And I found out that this has, helped them to develop. So I think as a teacher, it might not, let us just be, I'm trying to be as feasible as possible here. It might not actually be possible for our teachers back in school to like own the skills of each and every student in the class. It might not be possible. So this is where the parents actually comes in. The parents is supposed to be the one that's supposed to like look for the strength of the kid and try to like supplement it with probably like extracurriculum activities, or that's where like schools like these training schools comes in.
yeah.
And I found out that back at home we do not really have such, like, it's not so popular. What we really have back at home is like more of the same kind of thing you do in school, then you go back to go for extra classes, same mathematics, English, is almost the same thing. So I think we need people that can think, out of the scope. Of course we have that, but it's still not, we can't, it's still not felt back at home. So I'm thinking that in that line, if we have more of these training schools and with collaboration with parents, I think we can strengthen kids their strength. We can strengthen their strengths.
Okay, good. Very, 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 very. Thank you very much for that comment. That will take us to our next point. What you've just mentioned is that there should be a line between what is normal and what should be exceptional. Like for example,
Yeah,
you talked about our training schools and whatever, but you said what we do in school is almost the same thing we also go there to. There's no difference. Now let's see what
yeah,
Dalio said about his next line of action or his next environment. He said, enrolling at Harvard Business School that fall, I was excited about meeting the extraordinary intelligent people from all over the planet who would be my classmates. And I, as my expectations were, the experience was even better. I lived with people all from all over the world, and we partied together in an exciting electric environment. There was no teacher in front of the blackboard telling us what to remember, and no test to see whether we remembered it. Instead, we were given actual case studies to read and analyze. Then we gathered in groups to trash out what we would do if we were in the shoes of the people in those situations. This was my kind of school. So you see the difference in the kind of school he needed to be in and where he was coming from. So Samalaya, what will you say? What will you say? Having special centers that can align people, align words with their interests, not the normal routine thing that we see. Okay, a child goes to school from morning till evening, he comes back, he goes to lecture, and then the same way he was taught in school is the same way he was taught, is going to be taught in the lecture. Or you see a child that says, oh, okay, I want to become a teacher, and then he goes to a teacher training college or whatever, and there's no difference between the teaching method of a child who is in the teaching college or a child who is in the engineering school or whatsoever. So, what is your thought on this?
Okay, sorry, I will have to take you a bit back before I come to this point.
Okay,
from the point raised earlier, you will get to believe me. Like here, the what the parents should do, and even the teachers at the early stage, is to first try to help the child to discover himself. Because if you look at our during our time when we were in all those primary and secondary, we are not exposed to so to the extent that we cannot even choose for ourselves what is good for us. You understand? So we are not exposed to so many things. And always our parents just see that no, this is better for you. You go for this. This is better for you. We don't have the liberty to choose for ourselves. Not because we don't even. It just not because we don't have the liberty, but because we don't even know. We are not exposed. So I think what we should be is just to be exposed. Thank God for the world we are now. I think things are easy. Even small children now can go to internet, search for themselves, see different things, and get interested in so many things. You understand? So from there, you can pick something of your interest and something that has value. Because at that we can just only choose things that we just see around us and say we want to be this, we want to be that, which our parents see that does not even have value in our lives. But now, with the kind of world we are, I think children are more exposed to so many things, and they can make a very good decision at the early stage. So I think at that stage, the parents and the teachers, their job there is to expose the children as much as possible for them to make a choice on what they want to be. And about what Dalio has said. If you look at what he has said about, he said, "What doing well in school gets me other than my mother's approval," and you connect it. He love he love being away from home and having independence.
Yeah.
And also the last point he said that this is the kind of school he wants because there is no teacher that will ask him like to remember what he has been taught. You
Yeah.
see that thing that you understand. He's someone that don't want to study under pressure. You understand? He's someone that always wants like his own conscience. You understand his personal opinion to matters, not someone's opinion. Like how you be questioned in the class, or how you be treated, or how someone wants you to perform. You understand? Like when he was at home, his mother always wanted him to be successful in class. So he just felt like his success in the class is just to get his mother's approval. So when he's away from home, he's independent. And also the kind of school he found himself, he can do things himself, not necessarily going and uh, reading the whole book, trying to remember what you have been taught. Okay,
Yeah.
you are
For examinations.
for examination sake. Yeah, that's true. But here, what is it? Just for you to be analytical, look at things, examine them and to a conclusion or inference in your own choice. And that is what matters to him. That he always wants his own ideas, he always wants his own opinion to matters than just reading and giving out what he has read. I think that's why he's more interested in the college, because this in here is here is his opinion matters
Okay.
in the assessment, yeah, in the
Yeah.
assessment, rather than what you have been taught.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, I want to remind us again that at Read Book NG, when we read books, we are trying to get value from what we read, values that will help us grow and help us make better decisions. And one of the things we've just come to find out from the book principles we are reading is that as parents, as words, and as colleagues or as friends to youth, we should help them shape their interest. And then we should help them understand that as they pursue their interests, they can be able to work towards a fulfilled future. You know, there is a fear that what if I do this? Will it work for me? But like you said, once they can have great self-discovery, once they can discover themselves and say, "This is who I am, and this is what my strengths and my weaknesses are," you see, following your interest would not be a difficult path to follow. Now, you mentioned something. Uh, before I move over to that, let me just quickly say we'll be talking about students. Also, let's go to maybe as workers, as workers who work. How can this benefit us? Maybe, for example, I have a company and I have staffs. I should be able to understand that these staffs are they are not wired the same way. I think Ray Dalio also talked about it in the book. That we must understand how people are wired, how people are configured. Let me use that word. And then we should not try to box people and say this is the way things must be done. We may think, oh, if I tell them that they must write their report this way, or they must make their presentations this way, we may think we are trying to enforce productivity, but I think we are stealing away from the uniqueness and the innovations we can get from these people. So, in a different workplace, if we are in positions where we make decisions, we should create space for allowing people work towards their interests. There is this organization I follow on social media, the Gumroad. The CEO always say that in Gumroad they don't have meetings, and there are some other things that are not on the normal work environment we see today that are ruled out. It's a very unique workspace, and then from what they say is that the productivity level of staff is very very high. So as individuals, we should try also to, in our work environment, try to bring on and follow our interest, and then we see that our productivity would also increase. You mentioned something. You said the ability to choose for ourselves. I think Ray has been influenced by some factors like environment and whatsoever. He went into Harvard, and Harvard was a very special place. There was no need to study for exam or whatsoever. And then these things made him follow his interest. Now, when it was time for him to now choose himself, let us see what he did as regards his interest. Was he bold enough to follow his interest? Was the courage there? Let us see. In this comment I'm going to read, where he says, as hot as the stock market was, as hot as the stock market was, I think we understand what he means by the word hot. I was more interested in trading commodities. So that spring, I begged the director of commodities at Merrill Lynch to give me a summer job. He was surprised because people from places like Harvard Business School weren't typically interested in commodities, which were considered an obscure stepchild of the Wall Street brokerage industry. Up until then, as far as I know, no Harvard Business School student had ever worked in commodity futures anywhere. Most Wall Street firms didn't even have commodity futures divisions, and Merrill Lynch was small, tucked away on a side street and furnished with basic mental decks. So this was Ray now making his choice himself. He was to choose whether to go for stock or commodity option. And then he said stock was trending. There was a lot of money coming from stock. There were many opportunities and whatsoever, but he chose commodity. And the director at Merrill Lynch was surprised. People who come from Harvard, they don't go for commodities, they go for stock. Why will you be doing this? But the basic line was that that was what he was interested in. So let's go over again back to the situation of students. When I want to choose the course or the area I was to pursue in life, there were lots of factors that were interfacing. Oh, this was what my dad wanted me to study. This was what my mom wanted me to study. At the end of the day, oh, my friends around me, they were all going for medicine, they were all going for engineering. So why would I not go for botany, for example? Why would I go for zoology? But I know I love animals. I'm just giving an example. Perhaps I love animals. But because of what is happening around me, I will be shy. I'll be scared to say, oh, I love animals, let me study zoology. Or I'm so interested in plant, let me go for botany. Or I'm so interested in teaching, let me go for education. Because in our environment, we may consider these options as obsolete, they are obscure. We don't see them as so popping. Let me use that word. So how can students have the same courage that Redalio had when he went for commodities instead of the hot stock that was in vogue? Yeah, Messi, you're smiling. So maybe you have something to that.
Let Dominic answer this. I want to
Okay,
learn
Dominic.
from him.
Yeah, Dominic,
Okay.
listener wants to hear from you.
Well, for me, I think everything starts from home. Actually, there's a saying that goes like this: that charity starts from home, right?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I think is the parents, our guidance. They should understand, that things have really changed. It's no longer about what's in vogue. It's really about your interest. That's why sometimes you see many people after the years of study in the university, they come out, they don't even have job. And because that stuff they really study in the university is not really what they have passion or interest in. So
Yeah.
they don't really get to do things on their own based on what they've studied in school. Instead, they go. That's why you see sometimes, the doctors are the ones maybe in the in the banks, acting as the accountant or whatever, or
Yeah.
maybe doing some other kind of job, but not what he or she really studied in school. Okay, so I think is starting from home because at that stage these kids they solely rely on the parents for decision making to pay the fees. So imagine when you maybe you want to read something like botany, or not even botany, anything, maybe music or even art,
Yeah.
and then but your father wants you to be a doctor, he wants you to be a lawyer, and if you refuse, sometimes because of the kind of education they themselves had, they wouldn't want to pay your fees. Okay, and there's no law binding on them, based and there's no law in place as far as I know that is meant to punish such a parent, unlike you have in some other civilized world. Okay, so you say you want to read maybe music or some other art course, they say no, and if you refuse, then they don't pay your school fees. So what happens? And at that point, they don't even have this hustling spirit. Maybe so. Is I think is we should start from home. Okay, if you can reach out to the parents, educate the parents, let them know that every child is wired to do something different. Okay, so when they understand that, then when they see the natural um, tendencies of this child, when they see the things that this child likes to do, okay, then they can say, okay, maybe we should allow him or her to do this. Maybe if he wants to study art, if he wants to study music, if he wants to study painting, whatever it is that he wants to study, okay, let him do that. And then for the child too, I think somehow we also need to find a way to reach out to the kids. Okay, let them know that their interest in something, that thing that they love to do is the most important thing. Okay, they shouldn't solely rely on the parents like that for decision making. All they need to do is what you like to do. Find out what it is you like to do and find a way to grow that stuff you need to do. Find a way to grow that energy within you. So to summarize, I think we need to reach the parents and the words. We tell the parents how things have changed, because sometimes it's just the education or maybe how the kind of exposure they've had that affect the decision that they make. So we just tell them somehow, okay, things have changed. This is how things should be done. A kind of counseling on how to groom their child or their words properly, so that they can do those things that they really like to do, and then reap the maximum benefit from it. And then for the child, we encourage them to keep on, doing that thing that they really want to do, despite the odds against them, despite the abuses or whatever that might be coming at them, even from their own parents, even from their friends, from their brothers or sisters. They should just keep that interest in mind, and somehow they'll just find a way to let it shine. So we have to reach the children, we have to reach the parents. Okay, maybe through books, through TV programs, on the internet and stuff like that. Okay, and I want to give a critical example. Like for example, um, I studied zoology actually in school. But all the while, because from secondary school, I was this straight A guy, So I was actually the what they call it, the prefect, the head prefect of mine when I was in secondary school, you know. And so that kind of stuff, because of how high I was performing,
Yeah.
naturally everyone expected that, okay, yeah, this guy
You're
is a
gonna go
doctor
into
guy,
medicine.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
somehow, but while I was in school, I was more into when we're doing computer. We have computers at home, the desktop computer. I don't have the laptop then. I didn't have access to the laptop then. But then I was always playing around. If it was not game, maybe something just doing something on the system. What when we in school too, the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I just like this computer kind of stuff. But because then my head has been filled with okay, medicine, yeah, medicine, that kind of thing. And because I know how good I am in biology, chemistry, and other stuff, like okay, yeah, all it. But I mean, it still didn't work. Even my years of writing job, at the point I got tired, and then I said, okay, anyone that comes, let me just go for it, and then maybe later on I can, fix myself in medicine. So, but now that I'm more like I'm free, kind of on my own, I think I really know what I want to do now. So my passion now is my aim now is to get at it, just fully concentrate on it, and then get what it is that I want. So, but you see how this stuff has affected me somehow, because if I had been channeled towards that area, of course, I know where I would be by now. I know the things that I must have done, but somehow I know it's not too late. So the thing is to reach out to parents and reach out to the children, because the parents are the one who make the large decision. They make the decision. They're the one who pays the fees. Okay, and naturally their words or their children will listen to them, listen to whatever they say, and say, okay, and think they're right, because they're the parents. That's what they're there for,
Yeah.
the parents. Okay, to guide the child. So when they are kind of shaping the child, okay, yeah, maybe you should do this way. Not minding the interest of what the child is naturally meant to do. So you see that everything goes down in peril, and everything goes down in peril. So we reach the parents, we reach the world, try to educate them on how important it is to know the interest of the area of interest, the child focuses on, like what interests the child, what the child likes doing, or what, just ask, somehow to know. Maybe if it's conduct a survey in a kind of questionnaire, or maybe anything, anyhow it might come, but just to focus on the parents and the child, ask them questions, and then see how they can bring their interest, whatever it is they are interested in, how they can bring this interest to life, and then,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
that's it for me.
Yeah, just to add to what he said, Ray Dalio also in the book did
Mm,
something great with his workers. When it was time to give responsibility, he said he even made some to take some intelligence tests. If you remember,
okay.
some took intelligence tests, and then at the other time there was the use of the baseball card. The baseball card was to look out for what are the strengths of this person and what are the weaknesses, and according to the strength and the weaknesses, they assign responsibilities. I think Dalio did that also. So we see that that's one thing I love about the book: the consistency in words, in what he spoke, and then the action that followed. So he did it. So parents should be ready to as allow and assist their words pursue their interest. I think parents. So that cause that parents should read books when they join a book club, and then they read from analysis and from inside. They will be able to understand what they need to do. This happened in the book Boundaries. Boundary was it's a very well feed book. If a parent or a good parent read Boundary, I think the person is already set on stone on how to help his child prosper and succeed. Okay, now, Samalaya, I'm going to come to you. Before that, we are sorry that Bemi cannot hear us. He can hear us, but we can't hear him. We are so sorry about that, and he cannot contribute to what we are saying. So we are going to go over to the next. As individuals, we'll be talking about children and parents helping children. Let's say something about ourselves now. For example, let's also get some values for ourselves and for other individuals that though they want to help their children, but they also need something they can do to help themselves. Uh, when we are about to make choices for our vocations, for our jobs, maybe we have two different job offers, and then what should be the factor we consider when I want to choose a job? Should I consider the money? Should I consider the whatever? Just should I consider my interest, my passion? But before you say something to Malaya, I want us to look at. Remember, we read the book Mastery, and there was somebody we read about, and what happened in his life, how he became who he was. Uh, who is that person? Mrs. Malaya, you are nodding. Who is that person?
I read it from this thing.
Yeah, Charles Darwin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin. Today we all know him
Found
as the father of. Let me use the word, the father of evolution. Or yeah.
evolution theory.
So let's see something. Let's see what happened to him. Let's see something that happened to him. I'm going to share my screen so that we can all read through. But I'll read whatsoever, and then after that, Simonaya, you take us on. When I'm about to choose vocation, let's forget about the children for now. Let's talk about ourselves. Let's help ourselves also. What should be? How should I consider? What should I consider? And how should I approach what happens? So I'm going to share my screen for a moment, and then we would look at that. Okay. if you can get me. Can you get the screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now it says if all of us are born with essential, so excuse me, let me try to get this off. Okay. Okay, it says if all of us are born with essentially similar brain with more or less the same configuration and potential for mastery, why is it that in history only a limited number of people seem to truly excel and realize this potential power? Certainly, in a practical sense, this is the most important question for us to answer. The most common explanation for a Mozart or a Leonardo da Vinci revolve around natural talent and brilliancy. How else to account for their uncanny achievement except in terms of something they were born with? But thousands of children display exceptional skill and talent in some field, yet relatively few of them ever amount to anything. Whereas those who are less brilliant in their youth can often attain much more. Natural talent or a high IQ cannot explain further achievements. A classic example, compare the lives of Francis Galton and his older cousin Charles Darwin. By all accounts, Galton was a super genius with an exceptionally high IQ and quite a bit higher than Darwin's. These are the estimates done by experts years after the invention of the measurement. Galton was a boy wonder who went on to have an illustrious scientific career, but he never quite mastered any of the fields he went into. He was notoriously restless, as is often the case with child prodigies. Darwin, by contrast, is widely celebrated as the superior scientist, one of the few who have forever changed our view of life. As Darwin himself admitted, he was a very ordinary boy, rather below the common standard in intellect. Now look at this. The same thing Ray Dalio said, that he was an ordinary boy. That is what Charles Darwin is also saying, that he was an ordinary boy, rather below the common standard of intellect. I have no great quickness for apprehension. My power to follow a long and purely abstract train of thought is very limited. Darwin, however, must have possessed something that Galton lacked. What is that he possessed? Let's see what it is. In many ways, a look at the early life of Darwin himself can supply an answer to this mystery. As a child, Darwin had one overriding passion: collecting biological specimens. His father, a doctor, wanted him to follow in his footsteps and study medicine, enrolling him at the University of Edinburgh. Darwin did not take to this subject and was a mediocre student. His father, despairing that his son would ever amount to anything, chose for him a career in the church. As Darwin was preparing for this, a former professor of his told him that the HMS Barrow was to leave port soon to sail around the world, and that it needed a ship biologist to accompany the crew in order to collect specimens that could be sent back to England. Despite his father's protest, Darwin took the job. Something in him was drawn to the voyage. Now we sit down, and after that, what happened changed the world. What happened changed the opinion of the world about evolution and the origin of life and everything. But the difference is that he followed his passion. Him to be a doctor. When that mood failed, so his father said, okay, let me give him a career in the church. And that also failed. But Downey pursued his interest of wanting to be a biologist, a collector of different specimens. And that was what made him who he is today. I think in the history of the world, in generations to come, his name cannot be erased from the world. I don't know if you agree. And that is only because he followed his passion. His younger cousin, who was even more intelligent than him, today is not remembered. I only got to know about him from the book Mastery. So back to the question, Mr. Somalaya. As individuals, when we are about to choose our job offers will come, whatever will come, options will come, what should we look out for? What should we look out for?
Okay. Actually, you have answered the question through this, just this thing you just read from the mastery, and then, but we found ourselves in a very critical circumstances,
Yeah.
particularly with I came from Nigeria, where maybe you end up studying something that you don't have passion for, and but to me, I always believe that whenever you find yourself, try and create passion in what you are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because now most of us, when you talk about work, everybody will remuneration. What will I get from it? Is it will it cater for me and all that? But sincerely, what no matter what is the pay, it will not like you understand? Because there is that one thing that you need to satisfy yourself. And that's the thing that you need to discover in yourself. Once you discover it, try and try and in what you are doing. Let our passion for what you are doing. Let it be your passion, like so that at the end of the day, even if the remuneration is not enough, at least that pleasure you are driving from what you are doing will make you stay with the work. That's why I mentioned that even with Dalio, he always said that his standard is just to get things that can cater for his needs, his basic needs.
Yeah.
You understand? Anything that will come is just a surplus. Anything that will come out of it is just a surplus. And another thing, okay, for example, like for those that found themselves in a situation whereby they are just studying what maybe they don't have passion in, because I got like many, for example, people like us that are in agric, you know, agriculture in our society, we just look at, this is something for rural people. You understand?
Yeah.
Like we see it carried out in our locality and all that. So people will be like, why will you study agriculture? In fact, when I was in my final year, many students will come and ask me, why? Why? So, like what Dominic has said, the parent has a role to play. But yeah, even the society perception matters. Their influence, society influence, because of the way the society view things. You understand? Someone will
Yeah.
think, why would you be working in such firm? Like the pay is not there, or but they don't know that maybe what you are getting from it, the pleasure you are grabbing from it is quite different. So and another thing, even as a student, when you are studying courses that people think that no, these are inferior courses, you need to just stand for yourself. You understand? Even among your peers. Like for example, when you are in the university, someone is studying medicine, this is the course that we consider a
Yeah.
hot course. But most of these doctors, they just went into medicine maybe by the influence of their parents, you understand, or because of the pay out after they graduated. And at the end of the day, you find them in the hospital treating patients who are not doctors. You understand? In fact, even their personal relationship with the patient is not even good. They does not even qualify them to be doctors. Why? Because they don't have passion for the work. All they
Yeah.
have passion is just what they get from it. You understand? They are
Yeah.
under influence of their parents and the economic circumstances that led them to. So I think having passion in what you are doing. Okay, I'm sorry, I will take you a little longer and give you some examples. I worked with one firm as an industrial attachee in 2013 for 1 year in engineering. And it has to do with the work we do is about animals. Actually, it was agro-allied company. I think I told you something about it once in our discussions. And then the CEO is a veterinary doctor. So when he was telling me, because when he was in the university, he applied for medicine. He has never known anything veterinary medicine. So he was given vet medicine. Was like when he saw it, VTE, he doesn't know even what is VTE. He has to go and they tell him it's veterinary medicine. So okay. Then he went and bought jam form again. He said, let me just start this one. I'll write
I
jam.
write that again. Yeah.
So when he was writing the jam, he was in 100 level. So he went to write jam again. Immediately they started the exams. Inside the school, it was a secondary school in Zaria because he was in Yebi Zaria. They started demonstrating in that center. So there was chaos, and what will happen is that all the jam in that center will be cancelled.
Answered.
So what happened, that their jam has been cancelled. So if you still want to leave that course, you will have to wait another year again.
Yeah.
He told me that from that exam center, he went straight to the church. He prayed and said, God, this veterinary medicine gave me, I have accepted it. and I work. So from that day, what he did was he looked for senior colleagues. You understand? Those that are graduated, that are practicing veterinary doctors. He just followed them. He was not even paying attention to all the courses in the school. So he see his results, having carryovers and all that. But when they go on practical aspects, like his teachers know that he's the one that can do things perfectly
Yeah.
because he has been out studying all that. So at the end of when he was in 300 level, he was telling people about he wants to establish a private animal clinic. They would just laugh at him. That is how he started. And when he got all the experience he needed, immediately they graduated, he has carryover, so he has to spill over 1 year. So he just went and started his veterinary clinic. That is what changed to that Agro Allied company. That veterinary clinic is just the office. So when he started treating dogs, treating animals and all that, well, he did not go for NYC because he has to go and graduate first. He's spilling. His own colleagues that graduated finished their NYC. He finished their NYC, came back and started working for him in his own clinic. Yeah. So when he went to start for his carryover, one of the professors saw him and said, what are you doing here? He said, sir, I had carryover and so course. Carryover? He said, no, they can't give you carryover. He just went and see the HOD. Why would you give this boy carryover? While all the students graduated, he's even better than them in this particular course. You understand? So that professor made him not to write the exam. He said he must pass him. Because that professor said no, he's good. You understand? So what he did, he created passion in what he was doing. So when he said that he even telling us that, look, what is happening here, he won't understand it because now I don't have time to clinic. But at a moment, it's like really want to say something. You say at the moment, like in the whole of Kaduna State, there are sometimes even those that graduated 20 years before him used to contact him when there is a case that they do not understand. He later worked with the different firms like the British Fair and all that. And in fact, some of the cases that they used to call him on, there was a dog he treated. No, actually, he was called to treat that dog.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Gwemi, you are on. We can hear you right now.
Okay, can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you right now. You're welcome. You've been with us, but we've not been able to hear you. Sorry for that.
Actually, I have to download the mobile version for my phone. I couldn't use the.
Okay. Yeah, you are welcome.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so we'll finish with Somalaya and then we'll quickly come to you. Okay, Somalaya.
Okay, let me just summarize. So here, the points I'm trying to make is that even though you find yourself in a course that you don't choose for yourself, but try make passion for it. And also the environment, please, the environment perception. Even if there is perception that what you are studying is an inferior, I think even the schools should try and create something that someone can hold, like create awareness. Like Dominic mentioned of counseling. In all the universities, they have this unit, counseling unit. But even when we were in secondary school, there was counseling. But never you ever see a student that will go for that counseling. And as I use it when I was in SS1. I was an art student. So when I was in SS1, so I just went and met our guidance and counseling master. I told him that I want to study science. Why would they put me in art class? He took the matter to the principal. You understand? To the senior master, then they got in senior master academic. And they have to change me to science. There was a day I came late. When I came late, come and see how that teacher in that lab treated me. He said, do you know what we went through because of you? Is that how you want to become a scientist? Do you understand? He slapped me from yes, because I took the matter to the guardian and counseling, and he stood by me. He ensured that I must be transferred to science class because it's what I want. So even in the university, we have this guiding and counseling that you can go like, this is what you are studying, but this is the problem you are facing with your peers, like your friends that are in other courses, looking down on you and all that. They can just someone that's into your field, someone that's successful in there, just to guide you, to tell you the positive. Many people does not even know what their course entails. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what you can get out of it. For example, when we were doing our remedials, then when I went to College of Agriculture, so what they do is that once they admit you, because they admit those that does not have even science background. So what you do is just like a remedial, 1 year remedial, they call it basic science. So
Yeah.
during that basic science, they have what they call career day. On that career day, they will invite all of you, and they will invite some of their alumni, some students that graduated long before you, and they were doing very well. You understand?
Yeah.
In different courses. So they will come and tell you how they went through, what they went through, and where they are at the moment. So therefore, it's left for you to choose where you want to be. So it's still trying to create an environment where will give you more options in where you are, and it will give you positive news. People are saying, no, you are not going to be successful. But you don't know. But you have seen someone that read the same course and he became successful.
Yeah.
So that will help you to develop an interest in what you are doing. And lastly, I want to give you this example too. This guy studied Hausa, and you know what we call Hausa? Like Hausa, someone would just feel like, okay, my Oga was studying veterinary medicine. They stay in the same compound, like off key, and he was studying Hausa. So they would just be calling, this guy that just studying Hausa. Like they underrated him. I
Yeah.
know. But their course is 6 years. This one is 5 years. It's 4 years rather. Hausa is 4 years. So within 4 years, he graduated, finished his NYSC, and got a job with Voice of America. So he went to US. After 6 months, he came back. They were still in the school. With their big car. He visited them. That this is the outside they were laughing at.
You're laughing.
So I think just all you need, your passion in what you are doing, give
Yeah.
it your best,
Do
and
it your best. That is right.
reward will come in a way that you did not expect it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is very, very, very right. Thank you very much. Give it your best. Once you identify your interest, give it your best, and there will be an opportunity always there for you. Sometimes when I go to the universities or to training hospitals, you see they will tell you that they only have one specialist in this field, and then you are beginning to wonder how come they have one specialist, because people were not looking at that area as a viable area before, but because that person has become so good in it, you see, the person becomes a champion that everybody now reference to, becomes a king. Once they are saying, they'll say, oh, in the whole of the state there's only one specialist in this field or whatsoever. So I want to thank you all for your time. It's been a very wonderful experience today. We'll be talking about the book principles. Remember that when we read, we don't just read, we try to get value from what we read. And today we've looked at interest and passion and how it affects us as individuals. Yeah, before we wrap up, I just want to ask each and every one of us, and then tell us your reading experience. How has it been? We are about 6 months old as a reading community. What has been the experience so far, and what will you tell others about reading, and then about the Read Book NG community also? So we'll start with Dominic, and then we'll move on to Mercy. Yeah, Dominic. Okay. Baby, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you very well. We are about rounding up. We are sorry that we've not been able to have you speak. Just as a roundup, I want you to share your experience with the book Principles so far. What do you have to say about the book Principles by Dalio?
Okay. Sort of, I have to speak and
Baby, sorry, we can't hear you clearly. Can you please?
so can you hear me right now?
Yes, perfectly. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I said I just wanted to commend everyone for their contribution because despite I was not able to join, I actually. So for me, I think the book itself is really a valid one in the sense that it's really important for uh, our individual aspiration in terms of what we experience in life and what our attitude should be. And going down to the first page, how he started his adventure, and all the barriers he had to go through, just like what Mr. Osman and everyone has reported. I think major thing is about having the passion. Your passion will really say a lot. Like your value system also, like with Dali's situation, when his company reached, how would I say, low bottom, like he was the only one, he had to relocate back. And for so many people who don't really have a passion, having to find yourself in such a scenario, I think that for most business for that, I think he just learn. He's a person that actually looks at the state, he tends to analyze the state. And I think that was his major reason why he had to create a particular department. So I think for personally, as a person, I think I really need to not just making a mistake and like okay saying oh I made a mistake. How do I learn and ensure that I don't fall into the same risk that will put me in such mistake? Is for me. It's what I really learned from that. And secondly, which is lastly, just for the sake of time, that there's actually a particular phrase where he said he is the kind of person that he feels his own personal opinion is actually the perfect to the point that sometimes he doesn't feel the need of having to like he feels whatever his opinions are, it's always the perfect. He has crossed his T's and dot his I's. And I have to say, like when I get to that particular statement, I have to say I'm this kind of person, just like that. I feel, oh, if I have this idea, I feel okay. There's nothing anyone can say that should. I feel my own idea is like perfect, but then I from that book I discovered that I'm really being selfish and having an element of pride. And it's really, really like it sent a message across to me that yes, I really need to find a way of seeing that for the fact that you have your opinion, for the fact that it is perfect to you, doesn't mean it's actually perfect in the person, but in my own perspective. And so for me, I feel from that moment on, I decided that okay, let's say for example, we're in a group of having work together. I don't want to find myself in a situation like okay, I have more that all I need to know about it. I don't think I'm feeling very best. I should learn to accommodate what that will help me and also find and also trying to do what I think I need best, which might not be key. So I think for me it's like just for time's sake I'll have to stop here. Like it's really a book I would really want to read because recently I just finished my exam today and sat at the book, but definitely I have to finish this book. I can't stop halfway. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, I was asking. We'll be reading together as a community for 6 months, and what has been your experience? What has the experience been like? And then what would you tell other people out there on the need to read and then to find value from what they read? Yeah. Hello, Dominic.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I left and I came back. So I'm just trying to pick up back on what you guys were saying, and I know you're already trying to round up, but
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
okay. So what did you
yeah.
ask
I
something?
was asking that so far it's about 6 months we'll be reading together. So, how's the
Yeah.
experience been like, and what will you tell other people out there on the need for them to read and to find value from what they read?
Okay. I think it's very simple. The first step is to realize the importance of reading because um, reading makes you more knowledgeable about something. It exposes some secrets to you, secrets hidden somehow, and it makes you travel around the world. Okay, because now as we're reading the principles, I've come to understand Redalio's experiences and from where he's coming from, and it even teaches the history at some point. Okay, so it makes you it widens your horizons on different levels. So the thing is, I think I can tell other people and about this book club specifically because this is the only one I know. Because I think I can because I know what myself have has benefited from reading from joining this group, and from the boundaries to the what makes the grades great. Mastery, though I didn't join you guys for mastery, but I'm reading mastery concurrently with the principles. So from what I've gotten, I think is an amazing experience. Although I like reading, but I've never been it has never been intense like this. Going from book to book, that kind of thing. So I think I can actually tell people about it and then get them to understand the importance of reading and expanding their horizons and then getting set for life actually because books exposes things that can help you. It exposes you to people, lives of people. It exposes you to history. Okay, it exposes you to secrets that can actually help your life improve. That can actually help you to improve your life, your work, anything it is you're doing. So that's just it. It's been cool. It's been awesome, since we've been reading together. And I recommend this group, or just any other one you can join, even if it's not this one. But at least like since I'm in this one, I can recommend that people come here so that they can share, then they can read, get knowledge, and share, and act on the things that they read from this book. And actually, since I've been reading, I've actually noted down some points, very important ones, and especially from the boundary and from the boundaries, mastery, and what makes the great great. These three books. Okay, I noted a lot of things, and they've actually shaped my thinking more. Okay, they've helped me to understand some things that have eluded me all this while. Okay, so it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So that's just it. It's been awesome.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, Messi,
Yeah.
what do you have to say finally? We'll call it off.
Yeah, I just want to say actually reading books is something is an habit that you have to cultivate. So I get that some people don't like reading, but it's just something that they just need to cultivate the habit of doing it. So it's something that I will actually recommend to people. In fact, I'm actually doing that. And though for some they don't want to commit because I don't know what they're scared of, but I try to send them, the books that I have from this club, and hopefully I should get response from them to join. So yeah, that is it.
Okay, most especially they should read. I know it's scary to want to read, especially when the books are so very, very voluminous. But people should read. Yeah, Ibrahim, what's your final word? Okay, Simalaya, are you there? Simalaya.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, sir. Yes,
Finally,
sir.
yeah. What's your final word before we call it a day? Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, I will conclude with three things. One about the entire group, that's the Inspire Me group. Actually, I have a lot of people that like book, they love book, and they like reading book. But sometimes it's very hard for them to create time for them to read and all that. This is what this group give us. That it give us the ability to try, and it give us the discipline, like to create time out of no time to see that at least in a day. And the most amazing part of it is that you just read for just few minutes in a day, and after a week, you just look at the book and see that you have done like a very essential part of the book. And before you know it, we just started January and look at it. We have read so many books so far. So I think for this kind of people, all they need is the this Inspire Me group. That's all they need so that they can actualize their passion of books. Then the content we are reading, we should just try and get the where how to connect the dots, because while I was reading principles, I cannot separate it from boundaries. I'm seeing connections. Like why I thought a boundary give me the idea on how I work on myself. Sometimes I just say, why didn't I read this before? Because I have been struggling on things. I struggle on so many things that I have to end up when I finding the solution myself. And I just read it in one sentence that if I have read that sentence, maybe I shouldn't have gone through all what I went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boundary give me the ability to understand myself better and understand my own boundary and also other people's boundary and how to stay in my own boundary and how to stay away from others' boundaries. But even when you have created your own boundaries, for you to live by your boundaries successfully, you need principles.
Yeah.
And this is what the principles is giving me so far. So I think I have found a line that connecting the dots from what I read in the two books. And also, when you have that principle, at the end of the day, what you become is great. That's what yeah, what
What
makes
makes it
great
great?
great. Yeah, yeah. So I think it's actually the experience entirely is very nice, and then I like it, and I have been recommending people to that. Like now, if you go to my Facebook, one of the people I recommended in the WhatsApp group, he was asking even if this meeting is going to be on Zoom, but I think maybe he's not familiar with the Binton.
Yeah.
When I let when I later like interact with him, I realized that he has passion for books. So today I just saw something. I've been seeing it, but I did not take time to read. That a challenge that you post every day. You post a page of a book, just the cover page of a book. So different books for 5 days. And you also every day you also recommend someone to do so. You challenge someone to do so. So why is saying that by so doing, I think what they're saying in the challenge is that by so doing, you are making people to know more books and it will get them interested
In
to
books.
read
Yeah.
by seeing the cover page. So this is someone that just came into the Inspire Me group. So that showed that even before coming in, he already has passion for books for him to engage into such activities. And I think he would have wanted to be here, like although the information was late and
Yeah.
I did not tell him to. But I think next time we'll try and
Make
get
it.
him involved.
Yeah.
I think mostly the people I recommend that group are people that I saw in their own personal life that they have passion for books. Some are just in their status every day. They'll be posting books that they like books there. So and someone may like it, as I said earlier, but may not have time, may not have the motivation.
Yeah.
And I think what the group is giving us, the motivation to read. Because sometimes I will just be lying down, like I don't want to do anything, I don't want to read. But immediately someone shares something he read on that day, I was like, no, I must go and read. So it's inspiring. And sometimes even with my schedule, which is very tight nowadays, I don't have like I'm not following the normal schedule of reading. But always find time to read. And the one important thing I realized in reading books is that when you start, you don't want to stop because when you
That.
start, you don't want to stop. I think this is what introduced me to reading, and then it was Chase, James Hadley Chase, and it was my mom that did that for me. In fact, sometimes we go to the bookstore together. She choose books for me. Say, "Oh, I read this one. Read it, read it." So sometimes she choose John Sadly Chase book. I came to realize that there was a day that I started reading Chase in the morning, and I finished it on that day. I was wondering how he keeps someone on suspense, but always me, I want to see what will happen at the end. So I finished Chase in one day. So if someone said, I know me, I don't know why I don't have a habit of reading. Sometimes I introduce him to Chase. Go and read it, will give you that habit. But when you start, there's no book that is boring. It's just that maybe you didn't get the idea. But once you get the idea as you are reading, no book is boring and you can't stop until you get to the end. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for initiating this and for making it a reality. And I see us like getting into higher places together.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much. I want to appreciate you all for finding time to do this. It's been a very long time. We planned for 1 hour, but unfortunately, we've taken. We're almost into the second hour. I thank you very much, and I hope that we all continue to read and to share insights. The best thing I want us to get out of it is that we don't just read for flipping pages. but when we read, we must look for insight and values that will improve our lives. So do have a nice evening and a nice night, and see you next time in our next edition. Yeah, goodbye.
All right, thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye bye.
All right,
Yeah,
all right. And I wanted to ask, the recording that you made, is it a video record or just audio?
both. It's going to record both.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, it's going to record both.
okay.
Okay. Ah, bye bye.
All right.